Well, thanks everybody for tuning in. Um, let's get on with the program. See what's going on in the world. These other preachers. Let's head to the House of Hope. Oh, no chat forum. We'll get to the next one. Okay, let's head to the Hamilton worship sermon. See what they have to say. They're worshiping, singing songs. We'll see if they have blocked me or not. That's it. B. Yeah. Okay.
Whether it's Australian dream,
their live chat is turned off. No, it doesn't look like anyone's on live right now, but we'll keep looking here for a little bit. I'll change the chalkboard here. See. So today's program is entitled Guided by the Stars. See, a sun is a star. You see, the earth came first before the sun. Now imagine that. What if that were the case? Like we all assume that the sun came first And of course, the ancient myths talk about how the sun's Kronos spewed out his children and then devoured his children. So the sun expands and devours the planets. But according to biblical theory, the earth came first. And then the sun came. In fact, before the sun, there was darkness. So earth was in darkness. Then some water came. So what if we just expanded the nature of time for a second here? What if the earth did come first and there was no sun in the sky until Jesus? And that we literally lived in darkness up until 0 BC when the sun first appeared in the sky. Now that's some pretty far out there stuff, because for me, the sun expanding and the earth expanding, so when the earth expands, the sun doesn't give off enough heat, so it freezes, and then when the sun expands, it melts the ice and floods the earth. And that the sun was here first, light before darkness. But according to the scriptures, it was darkness before light. So if this were true, like say that before Jesus, we were all guided by the stars. We only came out at night because we could only see at night because that we were only guided by starlight. There was no sun in the sky. So when the sun appeared in the sky, everybody was like, the Son of God must be here. But all that's saying is like, if you believe in the stars and if they're a reflection of what's going on down here and vice versa, whatever's going on inside is going on outside. And then they talk about the second coming. So now, what if all of a sudden that were the case? We lived in darkness up to Jesus. The sun appeared in the sky. Everybody thought God was coming. And then it's going to happen again. Except for this time, another sun will appear in the sky, and there'll be two suns in the sky. Bring us even further out of darkness. Which is, I don't think, necessarily true. Like with my light experiment, I got a light going on here. So we're in the dark, and there's one light over here, and it's got some lights, colors, rotating color scheme. And I got this spotlight over here. See, when I bring it in, I can... Oh my God, it got dark all of a sudden. Let's see, get that in a nice spot where it'll illuminate the room a little more. Now let's turn off all the lights. Now this is the room in the dark. Now there is some light penetrating the vortex. You got the light of the TV. You got my phone light. Ooh, you really see the phone light. The camera doesn't like the phone light. It's like, I guess I can go back and edit and put whatever I want in this little space while it moves around. See? So it's like I can superimpose an image onto this light here in the darkness. And there's a little bit of light coming from my shades, from the light of the sun. So, and even I know even in a clear night with the moon's full, there's lots of stars out there. You can see. You can walk around in the dark. And they talk about cats in the dark, but I don't know if we should talk about cats in the dark. But let's turn back on the lights. Now there's some, if you want to get into math and you want to get into the physics of the solar system and the universe, first thing you have to understand, there are two types of solar systems: single sun systems and dual sun systems. And that all systems are actually dual sun, and the ones that are only single sun have a dormant sun. So in our case, our dormant sun, and only life can appear in a single sun system, which only makes up about 10% of the universe. So out of that 10%, we really are a diamond in the rough. Regardless of the mathematics of it. Our second sun is Jupiter. And one day it will ignite, and there will be two suns in the sky. And we will no longer be guided by the stars. We'll be guided by two suns. Now I could be talking nonsense. I'm just saying, it's all about education. And my diploma, I have a diploma in script writing. So I will forever be a script writer. So, I'm writing scripts. I'm trying to make a good movie. I got Jesus on the table right now, and I'm trying to really make this phenomenal blockbuster movie. Not necessarily blockbuster. A blockbuster just means it makes a lot of money. But could that be true? Regardless of whether God is manifesting or Jesus appeared and he is the Son of God or any of that kind of stuff, just the fact that, is it possible that the earth came first before the sun and into a hyper related reality, or a hyper expanding the nature of time a little bit? Could we have literally been guided by the stars before Christ? There was no sun in the sky. Anyways, I don't know what the truth is exactly, but I'm just here to check out the bloodlines, delve into the Bible a little bit, play a few songs, hang with Jesus. You'll find if you really get into my channel, it's very meditative. It's good for meditation. There's some color therapy going on. So if you come here and watch us, your eyes will be actually breathing. Anyways, we're on our 16th minute mark. Let's delve into not a chapter, but we'll randomly choose a verse out of the Bible here. And wait to see if anyone comes online that we can chat with and haven't, blocked me. Some of them don't mind it, and then some of them, I think they allow me on, but they won't repaste it on, even as it's going live. You put it on there once, and if you go back off the channel, come back on, your message won't be there. So there's like degrees of the order and whether or not and how far they're going to allow you in the door. So, and their argument may be, we're just trying to protect the word. It could be protecting my word, could be protecting the word of God. whatever the case may be. I don't hold any grudges against anybody. But as far as who I promote, if they allow me on their website, and then I put them on my website. It's all about networking and communicating, and but I think they think I'm the false prophet. It's just hard to explain that I'm not Jesus. I'm not God. I was just one of the cardinal bloodlines. My bloodline is as old as it comes. I was just here. I've just seen it all. You know, they say a lot of things today in the present and the future. Oh, you got to succeed. You got to do this. You got to do that. You got to do great things. But you've already done great things, and you're already lived. You've already climbed a mountain. You've already crossed a desert. You've already, all these things that you're trying to achieve, you've already achieved them in a past life. And as you move on in the bloodline, you're supposed to settle down. Instead that you're trying to, outdo your ancestors and destroying the world while you're at it. Not even, you think you're faster than some guy in the past? You think that any person that you can become, your other self in the future, has any weight compared to the one you left behind? There is only the self. There's the past, the present, and the future self. And you have to respect all facets of your being. The whole body experience. You're not just your thoughts, you're your heart, your thumb, your eye. You are your environment. Stay tuned in. Oh, we got a live program going on, and she allows me to speak. That's pretty cool. But she's got reruns going, trying to get us a live stream, I can get us a live stream, but I'm blocked on this one. No one seems to be on this Saturday morning. Anyways, let's get back to the Bible here a little bit. If I flip this open and it starts talking about stars, I'm going to freak. Afraid to look. A passage in Matthew 18. So, wherever it's in red is basically the words of Jesus and the words of Christ. So Jesus is definitely speaking to us this morning. Gotta get the spotlight going over here. So I can't, in the light that you see here now, I can't read. I can't read these. I can read that. It's nice and bright. But this small print here. Get my spotlight going. And even now, it's like The colors are changing. I could turn on the room light. Let's just, for an experiment, let's turn on the room light and look, see how it looks. Get a little more light in here. So we got our spotlight, we got our room light, we got our starlight, we have our rotative coloring light, lights of color, the rainbow, light of the rainbow. And as you can see, it's fairly, see, the more light you have, all of a sudden I'm worried about my hair. But that's the number one rule in Hollywood. First thing you got to do is mess up your hair. Okay. And that's, you got my bad side. That's kind of funny on this show here. If I turn this way, this is my baby blue eye, my Viking side, and this is my Babylonian side. And the blood of Christ actually from the cross dripped into my eye. And this one's a green. So I got a baby blue and a greenish eye. And the pupil on this side is 0.25% smaller than the pupil on this side. So this side of my face is kind of aging a little faster than this side. And as far as my hemispheres of my brain go, it's like a crisscross. So this side of my brain is getting more light than this side of my brain my whole life. Basically, it's called Horner's syndrome. Only like 1 in a billion people have it. But mine's a little different. Like literally, Jesus's blood fell into my eye and I have the eye of Christ. But all that aside, all it really means is that I think a little differently because of the light that has entered different fractions. And if it's over by a fraction, over time that fraction, gets bigger and bigger, and the gap gets bigger and bigger, even though it started off here with a small fraction. So most people's are in line with each other. So both hemispheres are in line, but my hemisphere was off by a shade. So it's like, that's how the hemisphere of my brain is. And now I'm getting old and the gap is getting bigger between the two hemispheres of my brain. I don't think it's really going to matter much. God's going to keep me around for as long as he wants to keep me around. Like, there's no way out of this place. You can try, but like even the odds of taking your own life are like 20% chance you'll succeed. So it's really, that's what I call a lesson in futility, suicide. It's futile. It's futile. There's no way out of this place. Unless God says you can leave this place. And you may take someone's life. There's still no way out of this place. That person, that's the only way out, is death. And I would hope and pray that as humanity grows and grows up, that less and less people want to actually like hurt one another. But it's all in the blood. The blood is, we got blood rage, and it's because we haven't crossbred. We haven't mixed the blood. See, Jesus is the crux of creation. He's where all the bloodlines meet. He's where the bloodline of God meets the serpent, the Jews, the Vikings, the Mongoloids. They all fall in line with Jesus's bloodline. So Jesus is the crux of creation. and at a pivotal point in history. Guided only by the stars. Well, at that point, there was a sun, and everybody was like, because that would wake you up pretty fast. If you lived in a world where there was no sun and you were guided by these small little stars in the sky, and the moon was there, and you came out at night and we were nocturnal, because I guess, or was it always like that? Because the earth has a core, it has its own heating source. They say even if the sun went out, that we could sustain life here. Oh yeah, our Bible verse. I'm going to read out of the Reader's Digest. At the moment, between these two copies, Reader's Digest has taken out the double beats, and as a script writer, I don't like double beats. Again, it's probably maybe God is telling you to really look at deeply into those passages where he repeats himself. But personally, it's all about the comma, and neither of these books have the comma. And so I'm waiting on a King James, because the King James has a comma. So you'll hear a lot of pastors talk about certain Bibles, and, oh, I don't want to read this. There's no reason why I'm reading this Bible in particular. I'm just picking this Bible up. But for me, I'm very particular when it comes to my Bibles and what I believe in personally. So if I have a personal belief, I have to go with the Bible that has the comma, which is the King James Version. And it's really all about creating a tempo in what you are saying. So depending on how many commas you use, how many periods, how many semicolons, how much you should take a breath, when to bring in emotion, all this has to do with grammar. So we got to get the grammar straight. That's, for me, is the number one thing, is the grammar. So, but, oh, did I close it? I closed it. But what were we on? Matthew 18, right? Matthew 18. Okay, well, I guess I'll go to the Double Beat Bible here. Because this one's hard. The one without the double beats, like, they don't even have proper headings like 32:6 or whatever. They got nothing. It's just like reading a book. Matthew. Here we go. Okay, well, that was easy enough to get back there. Thank you, Lord. Okay. So we're going to Matthew 18, stanza 26. The parable of the unforgiving servant. Therefore, the kingdom of heaven may be compared to a king who wished to settle accounts with his servants. When he began the reckoning, one was brought to him who owed him 2,000 talents, or 10,000 talents. And as he could not pay, his Lord ordered him to be sold with his wife and children, and all that he had, in payment to be made. So the servant fell on his knees, imploring him, Lord, have patience with me, and I will pay you everything. And out of pity for him, the Lord of that servant released him and forgave him the debt. Well, that's a nice guy. But the same servant, as he went out, came upon one of the fellow servants who owed him 100 denarius, or 100 coins, let's say. And seizing him by the throat, he said, pay what you owe. Pay what you owe. So his fellow servant fell down and besought him, have patience with me, and I will pay you. He refused and went and put him in a prison till he should pay the debt. When his fellow servants saw what had taken place, they were greatly distressed, and they went and reported to their Lord all that had taken place. Then his Lord summoned him and said to him, "You wicked servant, I forgave all that debt because you besought me. And should not you have had mercy on your fellow servant, as I had mercy on you?" And in anger his Lord delivered him to the jailers, till he should pay all his debt. So also my heavenly Father will do to every one of you, if you do not forgive your brother from your heart. Well, it definitely touches on the difference. The way into heaven is to know the difference between things. So if you so if you're rich and you become across a poor person, a homeless person in the street, and he begs you for a couple of bucks, and you don't throw him a couple of bucks, you will one day, whether it's here on earth or in another life or in heaven. Not a whole lot of us go to hell. Some of us do. You got to take another life to go to hell. Then you touch on things like abortion. Is that taking life? And there's something to be said about that as well, but that's not the topic today. Oh yeah, throwing the bum a dime or a couple of bucks. You will one day find yourself a homeless person asking for $2, and that person's not going to give it to you. So that's all it is. It's like, if you want to know what it is to be rich, you need to know what it's like to be poor. Because how can you come to know the difference? Oh, those poor people, they didn't get their life together. They're this, they're that. We'll subsection them into a society and we just ignore them. We don't have to share. We become greedy. So if you're rich, so that's why I suggest you just live a humble life. You just walk the straight and narrow path. Because when you walk through the gate, you don't know what it's like to be rich or poor. So as many as there are rich people, there are 10 times more people poor. And it's usually because these rich people took advantage of these people. So that's kind of the law here. You need to learn. And if you get caught up in the material world and materialistic things, you will one day learn. God's hand will come down upon every last one of us. If you are doing something wrong, and even if it's your entire life, you think you've gotten away with it, you're on your deathbed and no one found out. So you got to be very cautious with money and what you spend it on, because if you spend it all on materialistic things, you're spoiling one another. So I think that's all he's trying to say, is that if you don't walk the straight and narrow path and you don't show mercy, especially since someone else showed you mercy, you better show the next guy in line mercy. Because you'll come to know the difference. A rich man has to come to know the difference between a poor person and a rich person. He's here, the poor person's here. There's a difference. Even though they're not far away from each other in reality, they're tied to one another. They even talk about how we are tithed not just to people here on this planet, but we're actually tied to other people in other solar systems. Although that's kind of hard to believe too, because like if we're talking 10%, I guess, I mean, when it all comes down to it, billions upon billions upon billions, 10% of billions, I think the mathematical equation, once you run through it, comes down to the number 4. And they call this the 4 corners of the universe. I think there's a hidden 5th in the middle. So maybe 4 corners in the center. Where are we at here? 38. It's like a man in a wheelchair. They say if you're lame on earth, you will walk in heaven. So if you're in this wheelchair and you're seeking salvation and you're looking for a miracle, you're rolling up to the pastor, please show me a miracle. But what you're really saying is, I have no faith. Now, who knows? Sometimes the body's funny. It heals itself somehow and you can get up out of that chair. But if God put me in a wheelchair, you have to really think long and hard. Because what path were you going down exactly that God put you in this wheelchair? And you're saying, oh, this is my life, and some guy hit me. But God knows where your life was leading. And so he may have put you in that wheelchair, because think about car accidents, like people who survive car accidents, like that's some scary stuff. And yet somehow people survive. That's what I'm saying. There's no way out of this place. And who knows? God's like, well, if I hadn't put you in that wheelchair, you would have been dead. You wouldn't even be here to talk to the preacher or the pastor about your legs. And that you're just going to have faith and not depend on miracles. Because anyone can sign the devil's deal. Oh, you want legs? That'll cost you your soul. But they think it's salvation. So which is it? Oh, I've been saved. I'm walking. Or no, you sold your soul and now you're walking. You sold out. Now, nothing's stopping you from, see, it's like a quick fix. Nothing's stopping you if you're in a wheelchair from going through the rehab programs and swimming and having some sort of active life. You need your legs for that? I'm all for cybernetics. Maybe one day they'll have these robotic legs. They just put them on there and off you go. But everyone wants to sign the deal. Everyone wants the quick fix. The quick fix crucifix. Okay, we'll put a rerun on. Feeling some of the dead space. You all ain't saying nothing. Yeah, she doesn't mind me saying a few things on her chat site. I'll put her on. She seems like a pretty cool chick. That's, people are cool when they allow that kind of stuff. I'm pretty harmless. I'm not telling anyone to go kill themselves or, nothing like this. I'm trying to enlighten people to who Jesus really was, and while still maintaining his message. I can preach like this. Back in the day, I was like freestyling. I could go off on any subject. I could connect any two things with any other thing. That everything was just a matter of a degree of separation. Not just human beings and me and you, but the things have a degree of separation as well. And I used to just go off and, I was an actor. I performed Oliver Twist. I was the lead. I played Oliver Twist, and I played James Lead in The Children of a Lesser God. I had to learn sign language. So I was quite the actor in the day. And, improv champion. But if I could start preaching like this nowadays, see, I got a lot of anger inside me, but I don't express it. I do a little bit through my music, but I'm trying to turn that anger into something beautiful, something that can create, to be able to take all the hatred that's inside you and somehow transform it into life and into love. If you guys want me to get mad, I can get mad. I can get angry, and because I'm not too happy about what's been going on here per se. I don't know why it's so difficult it's like we don't all learn and we don't all work at the same pace. So they say we're all equal and they treat us all equal, but really we're not equal. We're all different. But the economy doesn't run and wealth doesn't run on being different. It's about robots and clones and getting everybody doing the same thing every day and every night, and then for 2,000 years. There's these people up here, they want to build this building over here, they enslave these people over here to build the building. It's the same story. It's been going on forever. I mean, if they can get it done for free, they'll get it done for free. So there is a lot to say about giving, and money and God. Because how much of this money that you have in your pocket right now is blood money? What the food that you eat is spoiled, and the money you have is tainted with blood and sweat and tears. The next time you take a $10,000 vacation, think about your employees and whether or not they can, pay their rent. I've lived this life long enough to know that something's missing. Something's going on. Something's not right. And everyone is afraid to stand up for what's right because they know they're going to be punished. So they sustain. So they're not sinners. They're not like out there committing crimes. They try to obey the law and all this. But they're not going to put their head on the line for nobody. Not even their children. They can't wait to kick out their children. No one here believes in unconditional love. It's all a condition. Even to get into heaven, there's a condition. But there's no condition. There's the human condition. And the human condition keeps you planted here on earth. But even in the midst of the human condition, I think there's a little room to make sure that at least people who are doing hard labor can pay their rent. I mean, it's one thing if you're out in the world and you're not doing much and you're living in a shack, but there are people out there putting in some hard labor, and are getting paid pennies to move mountains. And everyone points the finger at them. It's just the mentality here is like, oh, here's this dangerous job. I don't even want to do it. It's my job. I don't even really know how to do it. Somehow this job got on my table, and now I don't really know how to do it. So I got to go find out someone who can do it, and I want to pay them as least as I can to do this dangerous job that's not safe. It's dangerous. So they'll throw some guy down in a pit for $20 an hour and then preach safety. But they don't necessarily practice it, because if they really preach safety, they would make sure that everyone's got their hours, that everyone's getting paid enough to at least pay their rent. But this is all they're giving you. Here's enough to pay your rent. Here's some food and some transportation to get to work. And move that mountain for me, please. It's like the cost of living. That's all. But they can't even guarantee you the cost of living. They say no job's guaranteed. Nothing in life is guaranteed. Anyways, I'll be back. Feel free to hang with Jesus. And if anyone pops their head in the door, talk. Just be kind to one another. Don't damn each other, or, don't curse or swear. If you don't agree with what someone says, that's okay. Talk about something else. You don't have to agree on everything and disagree on these things. Like if you disagree on something, see if you can find something that you do agree with and talk about that. Or if you want to argue with each other, just don't take it so personal and have a laugh, Let's see if these guys, the Church of Hope just came on. Let's see if there's hope and it banned me or not. I'll say something simple again. In Jesus' name. Oh, I'm on. Okay, well, I'll leave you guys. This apparently is live and it's not a pre-programmed. It's not a rerun. They're cutting up cabbage right now. I'll be back. Turn it up a bit. Don't forget that cabbage. Cut it up.
My cabbage, I rinsed it twice. So this is gonna be ready for the pot. I'm gonna slice up half an onion. Thinly sliced. This all the onion flavor incorporate with the cabbage. So now we add this to the pot, put the cabbage in, and we'll let that steam up. Okay, so I've added 2 tablespoons of oil to my pot. I'm gonna add onions in. Adding our onions. Let those cook down. Cover this up. Once it cooks down, we'll season it. And we'll be probably get about 20-25 minutes on this cabbage. No seasoning right now. We put a little bit of water in. Let's say get it still going. And the onions. We'll add in some salt and pepper. distinct flavor. Okay, so like I said, see that cabbage is cooked down, steaming pretty good. Now we'll go ahead and season this up. We have about 6 to 7 more minutes. It'll be good. Put some all-purpose seasoning. What all-purpose seasoning is, guys, is salt, pepper, garlic powder. About 2 tablespoons of garlic powder, 1 tablespoon of salt, 2 tablespoons of black pepper. But it depends on how much you have. Again, everything goes to seasoning. So a lot of water in there, just steam cabbage now, making it have it on medium high heat. I just turned it down low. Be good to go. Good taste. Got to season it right down the point. Don't need no more seasoning. Now, we just let that simmer for another 10 minutes on a medium low heat, and that's gonna be done. We'll come back and plate all this up. Look, cabbage is done. Is there a particular way that fear influences home buying?
I would definitely say fear influences home buying because people are already somewhat intimidated about the process that they're going to have to go through.
And also the fear of maybe homes not being there.
It's definitely a seller's market, and basically it's more demand than there is supply.
Even before you start looking, you want to reach out to a professional immediately. The best steps to start and make you more strategic in your moves is specifically to kind of know where you are. So you need to do a checkup on yourself before we get started.
Hey, Dad, I need your help asking Jessica to prom.
Of course. Love is like the ocean. You have to tread.
Oh, Dad, that's not the kind of help I needed. Hey, Jessica. Will you go to prom with me?
Yes.
Listen, you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care can't wait to share their first with you.
Today, in this video, we're going to be cooking some brown stew chicken. And that's one of my favorite Caribbean dishes. But, I just like to eat. You can look at me. I like to eat. So guys, like with a lot of these videos, when you cook Caribbean food, you got to overnight this stuff. So what we're doing right now is just prepping our veggies for the sauce so we can marinate the chicken in the bell peppers, onions, got a little pepper and seasoning. Okay, so we're about to get started. Okay, so guys, you can see I already have my chicken. It's been cleaned. What I use to clean my chicken is water, vinegar, and lime juice and salt. Okay, guys. So let's go over the seasonings that we have. So what we have right here is 1 red pepper, Yeah, we'll get me a bigger bowl. I'll be back. All right, so look, I had a bigger bowl, but slightly bigger. So we'll go ahead and season up the rest of these chickens. Get it marinating in the fridge. It's gonna be looking like some hearty eating. Look, I'm gonna let this marinate for 24 hours, so we won't get cooking this until
I just
tomorrow.
blessed the food. He's cool. He's letting me on there and lets me bless his food. So this these guys seem pretty cool. The House of Hope.
She gonna look good. Got some colors in there. Looks so vibrant.
Nothing beats a home cooked meal, that's for sure.
This up. Go back to the same bowl.
Listen to the sound of the food.
Like all of these seasonings, man, it's gonna sink down in that chicken. It's gonna get down in that bones. And that brown stew.
I'm not much for chicken. I like my duck.
All right. So yeah. Now, this
Chicken sits like 13th on the poultry list. So there's like, apparently we have to consume birds and we have to consume fish.
A lot of times it's easy to attach your identity to something you do or somewhere you work.
It's got these animals got essential oils in them, like avocados. We need to consume avocado. We need to consume high grade poultry. 13th on the list is, but really we're just eating our dinosaur brothers, chickens. The Tyrannosaurus Rex became a chicken, and raptors became human beings. I mean, that's the truth. We didn't evolve from monkeys. We evolved from birds alongside the dinosaurs. Really, it was the Garden of Eden was a bird sanctuary with a snake and a monkey. Stop text, stop Rex.
I work in the number one hit news network, the number one market in the nation, and I'm the only full-time African American woman in my news group. Being inspired is really saying that.
Gotta watch the commercials sometimes. Like, they pay for the programming, but no one wants to watch the commercials. I guess out of not watching the commercials through the divine presence of God, they get paid somehow. Even though everyone skips the commercials nowadays, God works in mysterious ways. I've never been in denial of God, and I've always seeked Jesus. You would never hear me say, I don't believe in God, ever in my life have I said that I don't believe in God, or I'm an atheist, or I'm a Scientologist. I mean, the very fact that I am alive, like, just think about this for a second. You were goo. So it's all about evolution. In order for the evolution to take place, something has to transform from one shape in one form to another. So there's no evolution from monkey to monkey to monkey to monkey. You're bird to bird to bird to bird to bird to bird. There's no evolution. It's got to be a bird to a monkey, or some kind of transverse contrast form. So you are that evolution. Human beings have that property. We came from goo, from an egg. We were born. We were this little creature that walked and grew and talked. And now we're this like something totally other than our beginnings. And I guess you could say eggs. You know, you could say the chickens and stuff that they lay eggs and they were a yolk, and they went from a yolk into a bird. But the next state is like, okay, if you're a yolk now, what do I turn into now from this position of so I'm not a big meat eater, but you got to get some fish in you. They got the omega-3s, and it's all about natural sources, and that is a natural source. And so you need those fish oils, and you need some a poultry dish of some sort. Most people pick chicken. It's all about the lubrication of the arteries. So as long as your arteries are fairly lubed, even if you get a blood clot, it's going to go like a water slide. And the only way to lube your arteries is avocado, duck, fish oils, high-grade peanut butter. Not Skippy. Don't skip out on your peanut butter. Go in there and get the $20 jar. That stuff will keep your arteries lubed and then get you the proper trans fats or whatever it is or is that the bad stuff? Because there's the fat that keeps you warm, and then there's the fat that the arteries and the build up in the arteries, and you're gonna need to keep that lubed. If you do that, you've got most of it figured out, no matter what you're suffering from, as long as your blood is flowing. So you don't need to eat a whole lot of stuff in it. Like Trail Mix has 2 of the 4 food groups. So, you got your trail mix, you got your duck, you got your fish, some avocado, some peanut butter. We got to get your probiotics. So you have to eat your yogurt. But a natural source of probiotics is sauerkraut. So you need some sauerkraut in your diet. You need vitamin C, so some oranges. You need some vitamin calcium, so almonds. So it's a very bland diet, but it's not expensive or nothing like this. But people don't want bland diets. They want to travel the world and have exotic delicacies and eat like kings while their servants are eating macaroni and cheese. Right now, it's just meat and potatoes for me. I'm just still trying to figure out if the men in prison have a better life than me. I never know. I've moved so many times. I'm like the littlest hobo. Give me 10 years in prison. I'll change my life. I started taking certain things out of my diet. I was like, I've had so much chicken. You don't need any more chicken in your diet. You know, I've had so much milk. I stopped drinking milk. I get my calcium from almonds. They're natural sources that you can get to live a pretty healthy life, and it's fairly cheap, but it's bland. Beauty has a name, lays all my fears to shame. Even in the dead of night, when all hope is gone, she waves her magic wand. I've been played for a pawn. Beauty has a name, lays all my fears to shame. Even in the dead of night, when all hope is gone, she waves her magic wand. She waves her magic wand. She waves her magic wand. Beauty has a name, lays all my fears to shame. Even in the dead of night, when all hope is gone, she waves her magic wand. She waves her magic wand. That's a tough one. I think I need a microphone for that. I'm not sure. It's kind of hard. I guess I can wail in here right now. The studio is pretty quiet. There's an art to it. Let's get to the next song. side of town. There's a place inside town where darkness reigns, love is chained. Down, where's the house? You'll find me 6 feet underground. There's a place inside town where a damsel weeps, where a dragon sleeps, in an old house down a dark dirt road. Oh, you'll find me 6 feet underground. There's a place inside town, no more child running wild. There's a place if you have tread, tears are shed. An old house down a dark dirt road. Oh, you'll find me 6 feet underground. There's a place inside town, darkness reigns. I'm sitting on the Bible here. I get a footstool or get my head above the water.
Arguably the most wicked men. And I'll get back to the video, but you go to Revelation, and the Bible talks about weep Babylon, weep you merchants. It's not talking about people that work. It's talking about the money, the people that for money destroy people's lives. This is the system. You're never going to understand the blessing of God, why it's necessary, the power of the tithe, why you hook your money in with God's system, because without God, you're finished. There's a system in place to keep you working and poor from the time you're born till the time you die. And you need to understand it. Continue.
The income tax for several reasons. One is that It is the instrument of totalitarianism. It is the means by which the government can manipulate people and put you into a condition of servitude.
Every year, you give the federal government a form that says, here's how my money worked. If you lie, you could go to prison. So you're required to give them a financial statement that under, the force of law.
When in doubt, put on TD Jakes. Head down to the Potter's house.
The number one app for Christian daily worship. Track your daily worship.
Who was of the kindred of Elimelech? Can you say amen? Remain standing. I'm going to pray with you. The real thing that I want to focus on is not so much the text, but the heading of the text was chapter 2. I want us to use a subject, the second chapter. So if you miss the wordings, remember the number. Look at somebody and say, this is the second chapter. Spirit of the living God, Father, stretch on us today. I await your rain. I wake up to the dew falling on the roses. I recognize your mercies are new every morning. You have assembled us out of our homes and from our towns and our villages, and some have driven away to be in this place today. Not that we might hear me, but that we might hear what the Spirit of the Lord is saying to the church. In times like these, we need a word from you. In times like these, we need direction from you. In times like these, we need prophetic utterances from you. Speak, Lord, from outside. Here's your word. If you don't speak, we can't move. If you don't speak, we can't breathe. If you don't speak,
Everything inside TD Jakes is very informal and very entertaining, He's getting hooked into the witchcraft, thinking that's old school witchcraft.
what shall we do
They also call it the satanic panic.
if we don't hear from you?
When kids start lying to authorities and parents end up in prison for like nothing because their child lied.
Take over the service. Throw your weight around. Show hell who's boss. Move cancer out the
And the only one who can bring me to tears is TD Jakes. He brings me to tears sometimes. So.
Turmoil out the building. Distress, depression, and fear. You can take anything that says exit on it. You got to go today. I thank you for what you're about to do. Spirit of the living God, have your way. I'll be careful to give you the praise. The honor and the glory. In Jesus' mighty and righteous name we pray. Every believer in the house, shout amen.
Let's see if TD Jakes can bring me to tears tonight here. Live on television. That's all. That's what everyone wants to see. Right? Can you cry on the spot? My tear ducts are pretty dry. But when they're dry, the sweat gets in them. And they can start to cry if you're not careful. I'm not going to do it. My sister's middle name is Ruth.
there would be no books of history. The psalmist would never sing the Psalms if the book of Ruth were not in the Bible. If the book of Ruth were not in the Bible, Zephaniah would never utter a prophetic word. Can I take my time? If the book of Ruth were not in the Bible, Malachi would have never been written. If the book of Ruth were not in the Bible, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John would not be categorized amongst the scriptures. 27 books of the New Testament would be obliterated. They are all predicated upon this particular book. This book, the book of Ruth, is really about change. Somebody shout change. The Lord said to me in the beginning of the pandemic, He said, when you pray for change, I answer with disruption. And when I send disruption, don't allow the disruption to become a distraction. Because most people think solving the disruption is victory. When in fact, I send the disruption to facilitate the change. You can't have change without disruption. Everything has to be disrupted in order to change. You can't keep your waistline and have a baby. Change is disruptive. You can't plant an acorn in the ground and tell it not to disrupt the soil. Because growth itself is disruptive. Wherever there is change, it will always enunciate itself by the level of the disruption that precedes it. The book of Ruth is more than a display of femininity. It is, in fact, a book of disruption. It starts with disruption. How you handle disruption determines how far you can go. Hear me good, hear me good. If you can't handle disruption, then stop praying for change. Most people can't handle disruption because they allow the disruption to become a distraction. And they stop their mission to settle the disruption, as if settling the disruption was victory. This is why Nehemiah did not respond to Sanballat and Tobiah, because they were a disruption. The victory was in ignoring the disruption and staying on the wall.
So far, so loving our Wealthsimple journey.
We've bought a few stocks. We're checking in daily to see what else is going on, and we're even looking into crypto. I mean, don't know how we can.
Second thing he said to me, in the midst of the disruption, it will always want to be a distraction because every disruption presents an opportunity. That will only mean something to people whose lives have been disrupted, whose jobs have been disrupted. By the way, y'all sang your face off. Excuse me, that don't have nothing to do with the text. You know a person can sing when they sing so well you think you can. Brother got to moaning in the mic. I tried to moan too.
Just to go for that picture for the cover of the Rolling Stone, you know. You guys can go through it, whatever you want to use to put on the cover, be my guest. One shot out of billions.
But we don't always realize it because poor people think that rich people don't have disruption. And some rich people think that poor people don't have disruption because they don't have much of anything. They don't think they have real problems. And poor people look at rich people and say, look at how much money you have, as if you could buy peace. The problem, however, is that peace is not for sale. Disruption comes to attractive people. And you look at them and you're amazed at their beauty and you think, oh, if I could just look like that. And then you get to know them Somebody ought to back me up in here. You're cute, but you're crazy. You take nice pictures, but you're insane. You're gorgeous, but you're a lunatic. You understand? Disruption comes both to the intellectual and to the illiterate. Often in the same degree of intensity, disruption comes. No one is exempt from disruption. The text before us is disruption because disruption is always the gateway to opportunity. Look back over your life and the times your life has been disrupted and you thought it was over, only to discover that it was the gateway to a new beginning and a new opportunity. Can I get 10 witnesses in the building? Such is the case in the text today. How you adapt to change determines how far God can take you. Your adaptability, your ability to adapt. There are certain people that are inflexible. The gifted, but they're inflexible. The talented, but they're inflexible. They're married, but they're inflexible. They can preach, but they're inflexible. They're intelligent, but they're inflexible. You cannot couple yourself with somebody that's inflexible and expect to grow. Because they cannot go. They cannot go, therefore they cannot grow because they are inflexible. In order to survive the vicissitudes of life, you have to be prepared to go at a moment's notice, to reevaluate your circumstance, to reconstruct your position, to change your plans and alter your strategy and remove your course. You can't be more married to your plan than you are your purpose. I said it again. You can't be more married to your plan than you are your purpose. Some of us love the way we praise the Lord more than we love the Lord we praise. Oh, y'all gonna make me get started early. It's too early for me to grab my head yet, but I feel something creeping up my spine, and here's something is about to happen in this place. We love the way we praise, and we enjoy what we do more than we do the one we're doing it for. You haven't really praised the Lord until you praise Him alone. Until you dance in your living room, you don't have a praise. What you have is a show. Until you have had tears running down your face while you're driving, and you will wipe the tears out your
A lot of us don't really have homes. Like, I rent a room. It's not like I can just whip out my guitar and start praising the Lord or nothing. And my landlord might not take too kind to it, but you never know. You take that chance. But
our civilizations have survived for years because we had the adaptability to move, to change, to evolve, to travel, to be nomadic in our essence has produced our survival because our culture was not predicated on geography. culture was not predicated on geography, so we went where the food was. And we went where the water flowed. And we never lost our identity because we changed locations because we were never defined by our location. If you study the history of Africa, you'll begin to understand that before there was a Nigeria or a Ghana or a Congo, there were people. There were Tutsis and there were Yorubas and there were people like that. There were people of different tribes and origins who did not define themselves by the territory they dwelt in, but the language they spoke, the food they ate, the culture they had, the blood in their veins, the way that they moved. It was only when colonialism came in that they started cutting up the land because the Europeans thought the land was valuable, not the people. So they split the people to get the land, never really recognizing that the land is only as valuable as the people that are on it. In our own country, we are here because we migrated here. And I'm not talking about us as a people, I'm talking about even the people that we found here when we got here, migrated here. And I'm not just talking about white people, but even the people they found when they got here, migrated here. Migration has been essential for our survival, the ability to be flexible, the ability to make a move, the ability to pack up your stuff and go where you can plant and where you can build and where you can grow. I'm trying to prep you because change is coming. How do you know change is coming? Because I just spent the last 400 days watching God push a reset button. And whenever God pushes a reset button, it's a sign that change is imminent in our society. Can I get a witness in the room? Is there anybody in here that's been sensing in your spirit that something is about to happen? Your normal has been shattered. Your predictable cannot be predicted. And all of a sudden you're in a place of instability and vulnerability. If you hear me, holler at your boy if you hear me right now. In chapter 1, we understand that Naomi, she migrates to Moab because of the famine that existed in Bethlehem. Bethlehem is a modern, semi-modern name for Ephratah. Bethlehem means the house of bread. But the house of bread had developed a famine. And when the famine got bad enough, Naomi said, I'm out of here. When the famine, I know you've been working with somebody trying to get them to see, and they will not hear you. Don't worry about it. When the famine gets bad enough, people will migrate. The only reason they stay where they are is that it hadn't gotten bad enough. When they get hungry enough, when they get sick enough, when enough people die, when enough distress comes, you won't have to get into an argument to get them to do better. You won't have to push them. You won't have to beg them. You won't have to cry. You won't have to sleep with them. When it gets bad enough, they'll leave. If they got to leave on a tricycle, they'll get out of there. Shove somebody and say, I got to go. I can't stay in a famine. So now we grabbed her husband and her two sons and put them in a wagon and headed out for Moab, willing to risk the rejection of the Moabites rather than to die in Bethlehem. Because all change has risk factors. because they are so afraid of the risk factor. That they are not willing to have a new experience because they're not willing to risk rejection. They choose to die in the famine rather than to risk not being accepted where they're going. Oh, y'all hear what I'm saying? Develop all the programs you want to. Beat everybody you will. Start all your STEM and your STEAM and your this. We do all of that. Start all of that. Do your financial literacy, but there are
Well, that's enough for today. 2 hours on the mark. Again, remember everybody, love is God's will, God's law. Try not to break it.